Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big stories behind the numbers. Today, we're diving into the pretty remarkable story of Gevo, a company in the renewable fuel space, and how they pulled off a major turnaround in 2025. All right, before we get started, just a quick reminder, this is all for educational purposes and it is definitely not financial advice. All the info we're looking at today comes straight from Gevo's public filings.
So, let's kick things off with a big question. How does a company in a really capital-intensive field like renewable fuels finally make that pivot? From spending money to actually making money. That's really the core of the story we're unpacking today.
We're going to walk through Gevo's 2025 results, which honestly read like a classic turnaround story. We'll look at their huge financial shift, the key assets making it all happen, their super innovative carbon business, and of course, their big plans for the future of aviation.
All right, first up, the financials. Let's start with the numbers that tell the story, because this is the year that everything really changed for Gevo. Now, this is the big one. After years and years of investment, Gevo hit a critical milestone in the last quarter of 2025, $20 million in positive cash flow from its operations. For any growing company, that is a total game changer.
And, this wasn't just some one-off lucky quarter. It was actually the third quarter in a row of positive adjusted EBITDA. And that's just a really clean way of looking at a company's core health, without some of the extra accounting noise getting in the way.
And this chart, wow, it just shows you the sheer scale of that turnaround. I mean, think about it. In 2024, the company posted a loss of nearly $58 million. A year later, they flipped that to a positive $16.4 million. That's a swing of over $74 million. Just incredible.
And it wasn't just one metric. The whole business model just sprang to life. Revenues skyrocketed from less than $17 million to over $160 million. And while they were doing that, they cut their operating losses by more than 75%.
So with that kind of performance, they're feeling pretty confident. They've now set a target to be neutral or even positive on their operating cash flow for the entire year of 2026.
Okay, so you're probably asking, how on earth did they pull this off? Well, let's get into the engine room, because it all really started with one very smart, very strategic acquisition.
Right at the start of 2025, Gevo bought the assets of a company called Red Trail Energy. They brought it into the fold, renamed it Gevo North Dakota, and honestly, the impact was almost immediate.
This facility became an absolute powerhouse. It pumped out a record 69 million gallons of ethanol, it generated a massive amount of carbon credits, which we'll get to in a sec, and it even enabled the sale of $52 million in tax credits. This is where they capture the CO2 that becomes a whole new product for them.
Gevo's CEO, Dr. Patrick Gruber, he gave full credit to the team on the ground. He said their seamless integration and record production made a tremendous impact. And that's how you know an acquisition didn't just look good on paper, it was a home run in reality.
Okay, now for what I think is one of the most brilliant parts of this whole story. It's how Gevo took what is essentially a waste product, carbon dioxide, and turned it into a valuable revenue-generating product.
So first, what exactly are we talking about? A carbon dioxide removal credit, or CDR credit, is basically a tradable certificate. It proves that 1 ton of CO2 has been captured and locked away permanently, so it can't get into the atmosphere.
And in 2025, Gevo monetized credits for 140,000 tons of that captured CO2. This created a brand new revenue stream for the company, selling these credits into different markets. It's just smart business.
But here's the key question you always have to ask with these carbon credits. How do you know that CO2 is really gone for good? How permanent is that storage?
Well, this is where Gevo has a major trump card. Their storage well in North Dakota received a 1,000-year permanent certification from a leading authority called Puro.Earth. That's not just a marketing claim. It's third-party proof that the carbon is locked away for a millennium, which is a huge differentiator.
And the company knows how significant this is. They stated that they believe it's the only ethanol-related carbon capture well in the entire world with that kind of high-level certification. That gives them a major competitive advantage.
So, with a profitable core business humming along, how does this all build towards the future? Well, Gevo is now laser-focused on its next big project, producing sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF. The company has a really clear 4-step plan for its first big alcohol-to-jet facility. And the plan is to build it right there at their successful North Dakota site so they can leverage all the infrastructure and expertise they already have. Now, a crucial piece of this puzzle is, of course, the financing. Gevo is working with the U.S. Department of Energy to try and secure a loan guarantee.
Getting that would be a massive step toward funding the construction for this thing and really getting it off the ground.
So let's pull all this together. What's the big takeaway from Gevo's transformative year in 2025? The company's CFO, Lake Aguirre, connected all the dots perfectly. He basically said that their strong results in 2025 directly strengthened their balance sheet, which in turn is letting them go after the financing they need for their next big growth project, that ATJ-30 facility.
So, Gevo really hit a trifecta here. First, they proved their core operations can be profitable. Second, they created a valuable new business by monetizing carbon. And third, they're using that success as a financial foundation to fund their really ambitious future.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. By successfully combining low-carbon fuel production with a high-value carbon management business, has Gevo basically created a new blueprint for how green energy companies can scale up and really succeed?
That's it for this explainer. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the numbers.